Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Angela from artery.com. I don't know if you've heard of reverse embossing or blackout technique embossing or whatever it's called. I'm sure you have, because as usual I'm usually the last one to the party. But what I thought I would do is just give you a little tutorial if you haven't seen it before, because you can make some absolutely beautiful effects with this. Normally I would show you my attempts at the beginning of the video, but I thought what I would do this time is wait until the end and show you what you can do with different colours and what happens if you use different thicknesses of paper or card. So what you do need is a really thick 3D embossing folder. These are the thickest that I have, but they're not really that thick in the sense that you're not going to get like the impression is not going to be as deeper as I would have liked it to be. But this is a Lisa Horton Crafts one. I'll show you a one that I did with this later. This is the one I'm going to use. It's Bold Blooms by Creative Expressions. And again, it gives a nice effect, but it's still not as deep as I would like it to be. It's a beautiful folder. Absolutely love it. I've used this a few times. I think I've even used it in a couple of videos before. So this time, normally when I emboss card, I like the part that sticks out, all of these bits here, the sticky out bits I call them, to be on the top of the card. But this time we are going to be wanting the debossed or the inset parts to be on the top of the card. So however you want, whichever embossing folder you want to use, make sure it's a good deep detailed 3D embossing folder. I'm going to put this through my Big Shot and then I'll be back. The biggest trick to embossing is finding the right sandwich. So if you're interested, if you have the Big Shot, that's turned out nicely. If you have the Big Shot and you're using this folder, what it is the platform, the main platform, plus the Big Shot plus adapter B, the Big Shot plus adapter A, and then your folder, and then one of the clear cutting mats. That's how I did this one anyway. Right, I don't need this anymore. So again, as I said, we are going to be colouring into these indents. When I'm colouring, it's probably going to look really messy because I do tend to go out of the edges a little bit. But don't worry, that will all be fixed right at the end, so don't panic. What I'm going to do, I use some fairly light colours. I've got some dye inks from Stampin' Up, which I think I'll use, but you can just use any inks that you have. So I have a nice yellow, which is Lemon Lolly. A nice pale green, Soft C4. Pool Party. The Crushed Curry. That would be nice for the middle of the flowers. So I have a few brushes here. These are the ones I've been practicing with. So what I'll do is I'm going to speed up the video now, and I'm just going to use some of these, my little mini brushes, just to colour these in. Just to say, you can be as detailed as you wish. You could, if you wanted, add some really nice blending effects to your flowers. I'm just doing this for quickness, just so you can see the actual technique.
Snip, snip, glue it tight, paper magic comes to life. From a simple paint so thin, a world of wonder now begins.
You can of course use larger blending brushes. I have plenty of blending brushes I could have used. I just like using these ones for this. But larger blending brushes will mean that you colour in faster. And like I said, it doesn't really matter if you're going out of the edges, as long as you're not going over onto the other colours.
Snip, snip, glue
Right, you may wonder where on earth all this is going, because although that doesn't look terrible, it's not. It is messy, isn't it? And it's not tidy, which is nothing new for me, you might say. But what we need to do now is take a dark ink. I'm going to use black, but whatever dark ink pad you use, make sure it's very good quality and very juicy, because you are going to use a lot of ink for this next part. I'm going to use this. It's my Versafine pigment ink, Onyx black, and I've used this when I was practicing and it gave a lovely coverage. So what we are going to do is lightly drag it all over the top of this, and the ink should hopefully just stay on all of the parts that are sticking out and shouldn't get too much into these colours. You see what I mean about you using a lot of ink? But it's up to you whether you think it's worth it or not. You will get a different effect depending on the pressure that you use on the card. Oops. Isn't that just an absolutely stunning effect? Now, if you can see, I've used more pressure when applying the black ink on there, and so it's given more of a coverage on the parts that are sticking out and a bit less coverage on there. So it does depend on the type of look that you're after, but I just think that is absolutely beautiful. It's like magic, because you can't see where I've gone over the edges when I've been colouring. The black ink has just covered all of that, just literally magically. It is absolutely beautiful. So that is reverse embossing, or the blackout technique. So as promised, I'm going to show you the first one that I did, which is that one. I made quite a few mistakes with this one. I didn't colour in all of the white parts that needed to be coloured in, the debossed parts. And I did use like a thinner card, so that was my first attempt anyway. My second was using a different colour, which I think has turned out pretty nicely. But this was on really thin cardstock, and you can see that it spoiled it, I think, anyway. But I do like, this is to show you that you can use different colours. And this is the first one I practiced using a thicker cardstock. This is the 300 GSM, the same as the one I've just used. But that's one with blue, which I also think is really, really pretty. And that was using the Lisa Horton embossing folder. And that turned out beautifully as well, but it took so long to colour in the leaves. I think it's because I was using those tiny little brushes. But that turned out really nicely as well. So whichever colours that you want to use, as long as it's dark, as long as it's good quality, and as long as the pad is really, really juicy, then you can get some amazing effects. So I'm not going to make a card with these. I just want you to show that the different backgrounds that you can make using this beautiful effect. As long as you have a really thick embossing folder, 3D embossing folder, you can get some absolutely beautiful results doing this technique. I don't know if you've seen this technique before. I hadn't up until a few days ago, and I was so impressed. I thought I'd just have to make a video out of it. But I just think they look absolutely beautiful anyway, especially the black background, in my opinion. You might think differently. So if you've done this technique, if you're going to try this technique, why don't you post it on my Facebook group? I'll leave a link in the description, where you can share all of your projects. You can share different techniques, different creators that you follow. I'll be really interested in that. So in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. It really helps my channel. Every time you watch a video through to the end, every time you interact on a video, subscribe, like, share, comment, anything like that is just so good for the channel. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for watching to the end. I really appreciate every single one of you. Have a great day. Bye bye now.